Today, the House Select Committee held another public hearing on the investigation into the January 6th riot at our nation's capital.
And today's hearing focused on the connections former President Trump and his associates had with right-wing extremist groups like the Oath Keepers.
A former Oath Keeper who testified used to live here in Colorado. So we begin tonight with ABC's Justin Finch.
Good evening, and some very tense moments for some Capitol Police officers who were watching that hearing and were in the room just feet away from two witnesses who have now admitted their roles in the deadly Capitol insurrection. That riot would leave 5 dead, including 1 Capitol Police officer, and left 140 other officers injured. A bombshell moment at the close of the House Committee's 7th hearing.
After our last hearing, President Trump tried to call a witness in our investigation, a witness you have not yet seen in these hearings.
Committee Vice Chair Liz Cheney saying they will take any effort to influence witness testimony very seriously, and that the Justice Department has been alerted after that witness who did not pick up Trump's call contacted their attorney. A dramatic close to a dramatic hearing that focused on a crucial timeline tracking the activities of Donald Trump and his allies from December 14th, 2020 through January 6th, 2021.
President Trump is a 76-year-old man. He is not an impressionable child.
Clips from last week's videotaped testimony of Trump's White House counsel Pat Cipollone feature prominently in the hearing. Cipollone saying he believed that Trump should have conceded the election after more than 60 court hearings found no proof of election fraud.
If your question is, did I believe he should concede the election at a point in time, yes, I did.
The committee focusing on a heated meeting on December 18th, which included the former president, lawyers Rudy Giuliani and Sidney Powell, and retired General Michael Flynn. Cipollone was there too and says he opposed the efforts of the other Trump advisors to seize voting machines in states Trump lost and other efforts they were proposing to overturn the election.
I don't think any of these people were providing the president with good advice.
The panel also highlighting this tweet posted by Trump on December 19th, 2020, reading, "Big protest in D.C. on January 6th. Be there, will be wild." The committee calling that tweet a call to arms for Trump supporters.
This could have been the spark that started a new civil war.
And the committee has revealed its uncovered evidence showing far-right groups, the Proud Boys, Oath Keepers, and the Florida 3 Percenters all agreed to coordinate together for January 6th. That is something those groups rarely ever do. The committee also says it has learned that the call to march to the Capitol on January 6th from Donald Trump was not spontaneous, but that it had been discussed amongst rally organizers days before the Capitol riot. There is no date set just yet for the coming hearing, but we do know that it will be focusing on the actions of Donald Trump on January 6th. On Capitol Hill, I'm Justin Finch, Denver 7. Ann?
Okay, we'll look forward to hearing more. Thank you, Justin Finch with ABC News.
And as you heard, the committee today heard from former Oath Keepers spokesman Jason Van Tatenhove. He lived here in Colorado for more than 20 years before moving to Montana in 2020 to join that right-wing group. Denver 7's Colette Bordelon going deeper on Tatenhove and spoke with someone who worked with him in Estes Park.
Jason Van Tatenhove lives right here in Estes Park, and in his testimony today said that January 6th could have been the start of the next civil war. Van Tatenhove worked as the spokesperson for an extremist group called the Oath Keepers. Those with the Southern Poverty Law Center say they are a right-wing, anti-government organization. Van Tatenhove himself even calls them a violent militia. In an interview with our partners at the Denver Post, Van Tatenhove said he worked with the Oath Keepers for about a year and a half between 2015 and 16. During his testimony today, he said he saw the member base of the group drift further into the alt-right and white nationalist world until they eventually just became, quote, straight up racist. I talked with a man who worked with Van Tatenhove at the Estes Park Trail Gazette, who says his testimony today is trying to work with the system to make it right.
Jason realized that they were actually like Holocaust deniers and beyond. So it was like he got seduced into this hate group thinking they were constitutionalists when really they didn't have good intentions at the heart of what they were doing. So when Jason saw that, he was able to get out of it, and now this is like his whole redemption process.
Tonight at 6, we're taking a closer look at extremist views here in Colorado and what's being done to curb those in our state. In Estes Park, Colette Bordelon, Denver 7.
You can read a full recap of today's hearing on thedenverchannel.com. You can also watch our in-depth coverage on the free Denver 7 Plus app, available now for your streaming device.